We are just 3 days away from the premiere of WandaVision, and in this video, I'm going to analyze 5 spec books as they relate to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehos. And in this video, I want to take a look at 5 spec books as they relate to WandaVision. Now, this video is not here to promote FOMO, okay? Don't get FOMO. This is not what this video is about. Rather, I want to use this opportunity as a learning experience to analyze the market. You know, I've identified 5 books that relate to WandaVision, and I want to kind of take, with you, look at the numbers, see where they are currently. And then as the show rolls out, week after week, maybe check back in like 2 or 3 weeks and see how the numbers have either grown or shrunk, because I think now is probably not the time to spec on them anymore because, I already see, the numbers starting to scale. So I just want to use this as an opportunity for us to analyze and understand the market, and then maybe use that information to help inform us for other spec books that relate to shows like Loki or Falcon later on down the line. But before I can get into those spec books, if you guys could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe if you're enjoying my content, love interacting with you guys, help support the channel. And at the time of recording this video, I am at like the 960 mark. And for those who don't know, I'm doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So if you guys want a chance to enter that contest and win one of the comic books, click the link in the description. I'll have it, loud and clear, or I'll put it in the annotation or wherever I put it, but you guys will find it. And, if you guys can comment and like and subscribe and watch that video and find out the rules, you have a chance to win one of those books, and hopefully you enjoy content like this video. So that said, let us get into this. And again, this is not to promote any sort of FOMO. I'm not saying that we should go, these are like 5 spec books that we should all, jump on. I think that ship has sailed for as far as like good deals are concerned with finding these books. Now, I can't stop you if you are going on eBay and looking for these books and you find a good deal. By all means, if you believe in it, go ahead and spec on it. But I want to use this video more as a learning tool for us, so just to see, like, the books have been heating up. We've seen hints to some of these things in the trailer, and this is why the market has been moving. But what I'm really curious to see is where the growth is going to be. Once the show is actually rolling out week to week to week, and we actually have legit confirmation that these characters or organizations are in continuity to the MCU, what their numbers become after that. And if to relate it to a comparable, when we had people specking on Boba Fett, that book was already hot. And then once we got the episode where Boba Fett came back, I mean, that night, the explosion happened. And I want to see if we see something similar with these books for WandaVision, and just use it as a learning experience, because there might be some other spec books that we want to hop on to for shows like Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier later on down the line. All right, so with that being said, let us take a look at some of the books that I identified as spec as they relate to WandaVision, and we'll start with this one. This is my number 5 pick, and my number 5 pick is going to be Astonishing X-Men number 6. And what is the significance of this book? This is the first appearance of an organization known as SWORD. Now, for those who don't know, SWORD is basically the like SHIELD, except that they deal with everything related to space and sort of the paranormal, I believe, but mostly space. And we already saw in the WandaVision trailer that there were Easter eggs for SWORD. We can see that here's the logo right here. I believe that in the helicopter scene, in this one here, they had someone had on their jacket, they had some SWORD logos and things like that. So we know that SWORD is definitely going to play a role in the WandaVision show. How much they're going to play a role, we don't know that. But it seems to me that, since the MCU has kind of already done away with SHIELD with the whole Hydra plot, it seems like they would want to bring SWORD in to have sort of that government agency as it relates to the superhero world and the storyline. So it makes sense to me that they're going to sort of have SWORD be the new SHIELD in the MCU. And this is the book that, it relates to, is Astonishing X-Men number 6. And also what's kind of cool about this book right here is that not only is it the first appearance of the organization, but it's the first appearance of the leader of that organization, known as Abigail Brand. And Abigail Brand, she's kind of like your Nick Fury, Maria Hill, person as they relate to the SWORD agency. So you're getting a twofer. Now, we don't know that Abigail Brand is going to play a role in the MCU, but it would make sense if they bring her in as a character, because she's, has that role in the comic books. But I could also see them just having Nick Fury or Maria Hill taking over the mantle, because they got to find out what they want to do with Samuel L. Jackson and stuff. And they might just put him as the leader of S.W.O.R.D. And so we may not see Abigail Brandt. But this is the book that, that all takes place in, so you're getting a 2 for anyways. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers here. At 9.8, currently speaking, this is a sale in January. We're at the 160 mark. So that's pretty interesting to me because, let's use that as a benchmark, that we know that when the trailer came out and it was, shown that we are going to have some version of S.W.O.R.D. in WandaVision, the 9.8 is selling at 160. So, 2-3 weeks from now, when we actually see S.W.O.R.D. playing out in the episodes, I'm really curious to see what that number becomes. So we can analyze what is the growth margin in that, and we can compare it to, I'll just dig into the numbers, from a couple months back, what the growth margin was from the trailer to lead to this current number. So we can see did it grow X amount of percent related to it being on the show, which it grew another X amount of percent. And that might be a good way for us to understand, okay, well, when is the best time to either jump on a book, or when is the best time to, flip your book if you want to put it out into the market? What usually yields the best growth percentage? And that'll help us be informed for other shows like Loki and Winter Soldier. All right, and just really quickly, just for the sake of documentation, here are some of the recent eBay sales numbers. We see a $40 raw here, claims to be a near mint, slash price on a 9.8. Curious to know what that went for. Did it go for 160 or maybe it went for 200? Here's 2 of them that actually sold. Here's another 9.6 that went for under 100 maybe, 22, 23, 15, 16. So there's definitely still deals to be had out there. And again, if you want to spec on it, go for it. I feel like I missed the boat. I'm just going to watch the numbers and use this information to help me spec on other books for other properties down the line. All right, that said, let us go on to the next book here, which is going to be Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16. And what is the significance of this one? This is the first appearance of a character known as Monica Rambeau, who also during the 80s was known as Captain Marvel. And we already got confirmation that she is in WandaVision. We saw her in the trailer. There she is right there, played by Teyonah Parris. And I think that, this is pretty interesting because we see that, they laid the foundation. She was the young girl in the Captain Marvel movie. So they laid the foundation that she was going to play a role. And here we are, in the modern day, and she's grown up, and it seems like we are getting Captain Marvel. And what's kind of interesting to me about this book is, just a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at this book and just sort of seeing the numbers, and it seemed like nobody was really speccing on this in a big sort of way. I saw a lot of deals out there, and that's crazy to me because she's legit in the trailer. She is definitely going to play a role in WandaVision, and it's safe to presume she's going to play a role in Captain Marvel too. So it's crazy to me that, sometimes I feel like we as spec comic book getters or gatherers, we go for the home runs, we're like, oh, we're going to get Silver Surfer and stuff. And here you are right here. It's it's like a gift horse in the mouth, or it's like she's actually in the show. Why would you not be pursuing this book? I mean, granted, you just get the characters you like. Maybe you prefer a Silver Surfer over Monica Rambeau, but it's just really interesting how that works. But that said, let's take a look at some of the numbers here. We see a 9.8 right now. That's $375. Of course, this was in November. So let's take a look at a January sale. January, $100, 9.2. And if we look at the eBay numbers, as I pull it up here, we see a 9.6 one for $385. So check that out. Look at that, 9.6, 140. So already double this week. Here we have some slash prices, 79, 34, 65, 33, 29. So, some deals definitely still to be had with this book. And again, we're using this as a timestamp. We're going to check back in and see where this book is once all the numbers update. And we're going to see how much of a role the show actually plays on the character of Monica Rambeau. But let's move on to the next book, because the next book here is actually related to that. And what's kind of interesting is that this is another Monica Rambeau book. It is Mighty Avengers #1 by Al Ewing, and this is from the Infinity storyline. And what's interesting about this is when they rebranded Monica Rambeau to be the character known as Spectrum. So they took away her Captain Marvel, actually she was Photon, I believe, at that point, but they took away her Captain Marvel name, and they changed up her costume, so it's sort of this black and white aesthetic right here, and they named her Spectrum. Now, what I think is interesting about this book is that I have the feeling that when it comes to the MCU, I actually think that they may just call her Spectrum out of the gate because we already have Captain Marvel, right? We already have Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. So if they were going to call her Captain Marvel, I just feel like for the movie audience, it's going to be like, it's just too muddy, too confusing. Just call her Spectrum, Spectrum Monica Rambeau. And she can be her own character, her own superhero, and there won't be any comparisons. And it's just cleaner that way. So, what makes me, excited about this book as a spec one is that, the numbers on this one are still really low. The first appearance of her as the character Spectrum. You can see, not much sales data here to be found even. But if I look at the eBay numbers, I see a book right here. This sold for $8, $5 shipping. Here's another one, $3.60. If I scroll down, actually not that many sales overall. Here's another one, $20. So this one is pretty, here we go. This is kind of cool. Here's a 9.8 that sold for less than $79. So this is definitely really interesting to see, like, does Spectrum become the go-to book, compared to the annual 16? Granted, that's her first appearance, but this is the first appearance of the character that they may decide to roll out in the MCU. All right, let's go on to the next books here. Next book I have is Fantastic Four number 94. And I've already talked about this book in previous videos. This was one that I had in my spec books before it's too late, 2021. That was like 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of already at that point where I would say, like, I think that this is really like the sort of cutoff. I would not advise anyone to spec on this book because as I dig into the numbers, I see this one ticking up already. But anyways, this is the first appearance of a character known as Agatha Harkness. And it is believed that Kathryn Hahn is going to be playing this character. And, we see, currently her name is slated as Agnes, but I think it's safe to say that she might be the version of Agatha Harkness. We already got the witch hat Easter egg, which for those who don't know, in the comic book, Agatha Harkness is a witch-like character. And this one makes a lot of sense to me as to why they would want to have Agatha Harkness in the MCU, because not only does she play a role in dealing with Scarlet Witch, Wanda, but she also has a big role in dealing with the Fantastic Four, looking after Franklin Richards and that whole thing. So I can see them wanting to bring her into the MCU so that they can utilize her in other storylines later on down the line. And her first appearance is in that Fantastic Four number 94 book. And if I look at the numbers here, you can see this one has definitely ticked up, anecdotally speaking, from what I've been seeing. Here's an 8.5 that sold yesterday, $329. Here's a raw 50. Here's a raw slash price. Here's a raw 42. This is compared to, just a few weeks ago, I saw this book being sold for like the $25, $30 mark. So I'm already seeing sort of that 25% increase. So it'll be interesting to see where this book goes as the show moves on from week to week. All right, let's go on now to the last book here. And the last book I have is Young Avengers number 1. First appearance of a bunch of characters, but specifically as it relates to WandaVision, this is the first appearance of two characters known as Wiccan and Speed. And for those who don't know, Wiccan and Speed are Wanda and Vision's twin babies. And we already saw in the trailer that we do have the twins coming into the MCU. There you see Wiccan and Speed right there. Now, this one is interesting to me because there has been a lot of suggestion that we are going to see the Young Avengers in the MCU. We already have Kate Bishop. We've alluded to other ones like Wiccan and Speed. This is one that I think is interesting. Again, as it relates to WandaVision, we know that the twins are coming. So we know technically speaking they exist, but we don't know that they're going to actually, maybe it's just an Easter egg that they're doing. We don't know that they're going to grow into Wiccan and Speed, or we're actually going to see some version of them. So this one is a little bit of a gamble in my opinion, especially since the numbers are so high at the moment. So let's take a look at the numbers here. If we go into the CGC, we see that a 9.8 is $350. That was a sale in January. So already speaking, this is at the $350 mark. And I'm curious to see, once the show rolls out and we get them, we have that scene where they have the babies and like, I think I'll name them Wiccan and Speed or whatever they do. We'll see what the sales are after that. And this is in comparison, of course, to this book here, which is Vision and Scarlet Witch number 12, where we actually see Wiccan and Speed as babies. This is one I wouldn't really spec on in any sort of way. It's kind of like the baby Cable, X-Men 201. I don't really think people care about owning the baby versions of their first appearance. I think people want to have the first appearance of them as the character. And we can see in the CGC numbers here, already a 9.8 selling for $400. That's compared to the CGC listing right here, which is $350. So this one is already ticking up. I see all the raws are around that 120, maybe that 150 If we scroll down, 120, 294, 125. So this one definitely yo-yos all over the place, but it's definitely in that sort of $150 mark. So again, I would say, you know, probably not the best time to spec on this because, you know, I don't know what the growth is going to be beyond this point, but you know, if you want it, you can definitely take a stab at it. It'll be interesting to see where it goes once the show rolls out. All right, that is all I got for this video. Those are 5 spec books that I identified for WandaVision. Again, this video is not here to promote any sort of FOMO. I'm not encouraging you to get these books because, you know, I think maybe the ship has sailed for their potential, but it'll be interesting for us to analyze this data and see where it goes, and that'll inform us for other spec books for other shows in Disney Plus like Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier down the line. Anyways, that is all I got for this video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, have patience. Don't go crazy with the spec. Enjoy WandaVision. Like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying my content. Sign up for the $1,000 sub comic book giveaway on my channel. You can find the video in the link in the description, or I'll put it in the annotation or in the suggested videos. Anyways, that's all I got for this video, and I will see you in the next one.